Okay, so we're back and we're taking a look at the attack procedure. This is for an assault, so not just an attack. We're actually going to do an assault. In this case, a corps, division, or district leader may be selected for an assault only if one or more subordinate units at fatigue level 3 or less are stacked with that leader, and a movement allowance is not calculated in an assault, and movement points are not used, so the active player doesn't have to specify a type of attack, which is what you would see with marching units. So at this point, they have to select the participants. We're going to select an eligible leader, and then he chooses one or more units in the active leader's hex belonging to the same command of that leader, and each unit is selected to participate in the action, must be at fatigue 3 or less. So we can go ahead and do that. Now, the thing that we really want to do is have a grand assault, and that's really what we're kind of building up for. And a grand assault allows additional units to participate in the attack. So even if a grand assault fails, the assault has to proceed to step 7. And that's really what we're building up to. So we have an army or district leader situated within the command radius of the active leader's hex. And in this case, that's already McPherson. And so everybody is within his command radius of 4, right? Because they're all within 2 hexes of him at this point. So one of the 6 hexes adjacent to the defender is eligible to join into the grand assault. In this case, that's going to be all 3 of these stacks that we've just looked at. They're all adjacent to the defender. The one thing that we do have to kind of look at here real quick is the southern stack, which was this one with the 9th Illinois Cavalry, and Sweeney actually has to contend with this stream here. And so that's a little different, right? You have a creek that they have to go across, and it's not a rain turn, so we're not worried about that. But it is absolutely something that we'll need to take a quick look at, I think, as we go through. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we're good, right? So in the hex with McPherson is both dodge and veach. They're fine. We have fatigue 2 and 10 manpower all ready to go in that hex. So that hex where we're originating the attack is eligible. The next thing we have to do is increase the fatigue that's going to be used to participate by 1 level. So in this case, right, this 2 gets dumped, and we need to bring in a 3. Okay, so we've done that for that hex. The next thing that we do, and this is what's worthwhile, is extended march never occurs as a result of an assault action. So even though that went to fatigue level 3, we don't have to really worry about that. The target, of course, is going to be Resaca, which is where all of these Confederate units are located. From there, we need to do cavalry retreat with eligible units. We don't have any eligible units. We have the 9th Illinois Cavalry there to kind of stop the cavalry retreat. And frankly, for this example, even if that is possible, it really doesn't make any sense to do it because it's the end of the turn. So why not add the extra half strength point in there? So not a problem. So let's look at so now we have to roll for command. So the active player is going to roll a die, which might be modified. If you roll a 6, the assault automatically ends and you begin a new action phase. If you roll a 5 or less, you're going to apply the appropriate modifier to the roll. So basically, let's go ahead and do the roll. Hopefully this won't be a 6 and be crazy embarrassing. So it's actually a 4. Okay, so let's take a look at that. If the assault is 0 or greater, we're going to go ahead and continue on. But we need to take a look at the modifiers that may be involved here. Okay, so in this particular case, we subtract the number from the active leader's command value, and that number is the assault number. So in this case, the activated leader's command value is 4. That's a 4. That's a 0. And so that means that it's good. It means that one unit can participate. So this still goes, because remember, we only had the one unit involved here, which was that 10. Now what we want to do is, so that we've got that, we can actually go and move on. But let's say, for example, that the command value was only a 3, and we rolled that 4. The problem there is that we now have a situation where nobody can participate, or if we had 2 units, only one would be able to. So definitely pay attention to that piece of this. So now we attempt the grand assault. And in this place, we're going to look at it. We have a valid army or district leader. We're eligible hexes, a non-cavalry leader, initiating the current assault. We're good there. Roll for command. So the active player rolls a die. So we're going to do that. That's for the basic game rules. So we got a 3 on this one. So let's see what that does for us. So we got a 3. At the unmodified, die roll is 5 or less. Subtract the number rolled from the army district leader's command value. The result is a grand assault number. If it's 0 or less, the assault doesn't take place. In this case, it's 1, which means that the grand assault is going to take place. Now, that rule for rolling for command is a little different in the basic game from the advanced game, but we're just going to take a look at the basic game right now. Next, we're going to select our eligible hexes, which we've already done. It's equal to or less than the grand assault hex number, which means that basically we're only getting to select 1, right? So what we're going to do, as you might imagine, is we're going to select this hex here, and then the great big hex that was next door that was commanded by the Logan and the 15th Division, because that has the next highest number of folks who are in it here. So we've got 16, 23 in there, so 33 total against 16, right? So once we've done that, we've selected the participants. You have to have a fatigue of 3 or less. You have to be eligible to attack. All of these guys are at this point. We have to increase the fatigue of each of these units. So this guy goes, all the units in here were just at 1. So they're going to just go to a 2. No problem. That applied to everybody in that hex. Good movement roll there. So that was good. And at this point, we're going to return to the assault procedure. So now, basically, you have a decision tree where you pop out of the attack procedure to calculate the grand assault. Once you've figured out who's in the grand assault, you slot back into the assault action. And that's what we're going to pick up in the next video.